Hi everyone, my name is Cliff Curtis, at least that's what most of my friends know me as. This is about 9 a.m., September 6, 2017. It's Wednesday. Friends on Facebook are probably watching this because they're just curious what I've uploaded here. If you're a YouTuber, you're probably seeing a lot of warnings about earthquakes, the big one, and you're looking for some answers. You want to know what's going to happen. Um, this happened to me about 10 years ago. I'll tell you, you came to the right place. I've seen it. I had an out-of-body experience, two of them, as a matter of fact. And I'm going to tell you as many details as I can, exactly what I saw, what happened, and let's get started. I laid down to take a nap. It was about early afternoon, late morning. And I opened my eyes and found myself standing in front of this chain link fence. And I'm looking through it across a bay. The other side of the fence had this steep slope that went down to erosion control boulders along a shoreline with waves breaking against them. And right off the bat, I noticed that this was unusual. This wasn't a dream. I can remember everything back here, and you know how dreams are. They're in a dream. You don't have any control. You don't remember anything back here, and just kind of seems to follow uh, your feelings and kind of like recognizable people and stuff. This I could remember everything back here. I knew where I was supposed to be back here in bed, and yet I was somewhere else. And I thought it was real fascinating. I decided to try to go with it as long as I could. And so I just stayed very calm and tried to suppress my emotions. I didn't want to have fear or any emotions whatsoever. I just wanted to be perfectly still and just observe for as long as I could. Well, I'm looking out at this bay. It's a big bay, and I'm way out in the distance. I could see this a bridge that was across there that looked like a wagon wheel half submerged, and it was huge, and I could see movement on it, but um, it was too far away to really uh, see what was going on there. But I could see boats moving around down there in the bay, and the slope I think was about 300 feet with this safety fence there, and um, and it started going on for a long time. A couple minutes went by, and I just thought, wow, this is cool. I'm okay. So I turned around slowly to see what was behind me, and I noticed right away the mountains in the background were. This was my old neighborhood. This is where I grew up as a kid, as a teenager in high school, and this was my old neighborhood. But the houses had changed a bit. There seemed to be a lot of two-stories houses there, and some new designs, and fences were a lot taller. And sorry, my phone's just sorry about that. Um, okay, and I was just kind of tripping on that, just like, whoa, how did I was in this on what I was on a street called Branham. It's Branham Lane, and just running alongside of it is Freeway 85. But the freeway was gone. There was a slope now. And as I'm sitting there, just taking it all in, I noticed these three ladies coming up the sidewalk along Branham, and they were wearing nurses' uniforms. I think they were orderlies. Um, orderlies. They had like aprons on and white. They were wearing white, and they were two Hispanic ladies, short Hispanic ladies, and a big black lady following behind them. And I called out to them. Anyway, um, I called out to them. Excuse me, what year is this? And they didn't answer. They just looked at me through the sides of their eyes, and they started walking faster. Well, excuse me, what year is this? And the big black lady turned as she was walking and said, "You don't know what year this is?" I said, "Just what year is this?" And she said 30. I don't know if that was 3. At the time, I thought it was 3, but later on, I was thinking it was probably 30. You know, she had the kind of a drawl to her accent there. But anyway, I was kind of like confused by that, and I don't know, I let them go. I could see that they didn't want anything to do with me. And after they'd gone by, I looked down at my body, and I could see that I was wearing these really filthy clothes. Um, just just rags, tattered rags, filthy, like a vagrant homeless person would wear. And I was barefoot. The feet were long and skinny. I didn't really think they looked like mine. And the body kind of seemed lanky, skinny and lanky. But anyway, it was still going on for a long time, so I decided, well, heck, I'm going to go up the street here and see what my mom's old house looked like, where I grew up. And I started walking towards it, and I felt stickers under my feet. I was barefoot, so I looked around behind me for the shoes, and I saw a pair sitting over by this square electrical box that was sticking out of the ground. And I went back over there and sat down on the box to put the shoes on. And everything was going strong. This was lasting a long time. I started getting a little bit excited. And I think that was the trigger, the emotion. All of a sudden, everything just started getting kind of blurry, and I felt like I was losing it. And I started thinking, no, 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 no. But it was too late. My view just shot away from me. And next thing, I was in this gray, just surrounded by this dark, smoky gray. And I lifted up my hands in front of me. I was looking at both sides of them. They were my hands. And I clapped them together. There was no feeling and no sound, which was kind of baffling. And they were kind of semi-transparent, not solid. And since everything is shot away from me that way, I twisted around to see what was behind me. And I was at the ceiling level in my bedroom, looking down at myself, laying face up in bed. And I went floating down to a position of sitting and then laying back into myself. And staring straight up at the ceiling. And I was just dumbfounded. I lay there for about half an hour just going, whoa, what was that all about? This doesn't happen to everybody. How am I going to tell people? They'll never believe this. And I came to feeling really honored by it. I know this doesn't happen to people very often. And I kind of played stupid for a while. My big question was, what happened to San Jose? That base should have been San Jose, Silicon Valley. And I was just like, just a dummy. What happened to San Jose? Who did this all to me? what was that all about? It wasn't a dream. Well, it was about exactly 3 months later, I got my answer. And then this one turned out to be the most terrifying thing that's ever happened to me in my life. I suddenly found myself on the other side of the mountains, on the west side of the Santa Cruz Mountains, Los Gatos, about a few miles south of Santa Cruz, and facing the ocean. I could see the peninsula out there, Monterey Peninsula, and the big bay. And I had just enough time to figure out where I was. I was in the foothills on a dirt road, and it looked to be about, I don't remember seeing the position of the sun, but it was a very warm day, um, and it was very clear and still. There was no wind, and just a perfectly calm, still day. And all of a sudden I felt the ground moving, and I knew it was a big earthquake. So I dove for these bushes, and I grabbed onto the stalks, and I was on my stomach just hanging on. And this earthquake just escalated to something we've never seen or recorded before. Absolutely huge. This was more like all the ground, all the land moving, just moving by hundreds of feet. It was going up and out towards the ocean, by hundreds of feet in one motion. And I was terrified. I was hanging at the foothills I was on started going straight up, just like this, and I'm hanging on for dear life onto these bushes, and I'm starting to lose my grip on the thing. My arms are getting weaker, just fighting to hang on. So I started desperately kicking into the ground a foothold, and I got it maybe a half inch or so deep, enough to stand in and relieve some of the pressure off my arms. And by then I was vertical, and I didn't know. I was contemplating whether to climb up and over or try to climb back down. I was in a dangerous spot. If I let go, I was going to get injured. I was going to fall a long way. Who knows what, I'd be hurt. Anyway, it all started coming to a stop. I'd been dodging the falling boulders and debris and managed to survive that. But when it came to a stop, I looked out behind me at the view, just twisting around, and I'll be damned, the ocean was gone. All the water was gone. Nothing but a slope, a wet slope, all the way out to a mist out in the distance. And I was just mesmerized by this. I could see the peninsula still, and the ocean was gone. And so I'm kind of squinting out there looking for the ocean, and I see the horizon, and it's twinkling in the sun, and I see movement out there. And as I'm staring, trying to strain to see what's going on, the horror struck me that it was the ocean coming back. All the water had slipped off of the continental shelf and apparently welled up out in the deep and was coming back. I saw a wall just growing bigger and bigger, and I started getting pretty scared. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't get out of the way. There's nothing I could do. It was going to come and smash against the mountain, and I wasn't going to survive this. It was just absolutely terrifying. I can tell you right now, guys, this is going to be a really painful, awful death for anybody who's caught in that. Drowning, getting covered on 1,000 feet of water, which is my estimate. When I saw it crossing the beaches there, it looked to be about 1,000 feet high. Okay, this is going to affect the whole world. And anyway, the last thing I said, just as it was about to hit me, was, "Oh God!" And bang, I was back. I was laying in bed, just drenched in sweat, just terrified. And I laid there, just thanking God, praying, just saying, thank you, God, for pulling me out of that. That was so scary. And so that's it. That's what happened. And I believe I was given these messages to tell people, to warn them, to get out of the way. If you're on the coast, you're in great danger. In California. Damn this phone. Shut it off. Alright. So my warnings to you are, my advice is, get away from the California coast. You're in great danger. If you can't, then you should probably try to get yourself a four-wheeler and plan an escape route up a mountain. Keep a backpack at the ready, and you're going to need hunting and fishing supplies, a tent, ways to sterilize cuts and to avoid infections. I would recommend an aluminum pot in the bottom of your backpack for boiling water, fire starting supplies, and things like that. A survival kit. Help's going to be a long time coming after this. And I recommend you avoid military help. From what I've seen online, I don't trust the government anymore, and I don't trust the military. But that's just me. But use your four-wheeler to go around fallen trees and push cars out of the way. Whatever you have to do, do not hesitate. Get up a mountain fast. Try to get above 1,000 feet, 1,500 feet. So that's about it. I hate to bring this bad news to people, but that's what I saw. Okay, I have no reason to lie or make things up. This is what I saw, and I believe it's coming. And if you look at all the evidence and things online, there's psychics out there and other people seeing the same things, and a big event is coming, and it's going to be world changing, and probably millions are going to perish from this. If you want to try to survive it, the big bridge out there says that we do rebuild and start to get back on track, but it's going to be a long time coming. Also, remember that the new world out there seemed very peaceful. I couldn't hear traffic. I heard birds, and there wasn't planes flying around. It was just a nice, very kind of pleasant place to be, really. Despite San Jose being underwater, sunken to below sea level, But anyway, that's it. God bless. Take care. And please tell others to watch. Tell people to watch this video. This is the truth. This is what's going to happen from a guy who has nothing to lie about. This is what I saw. It's a message from God. All right. Take care, everyone.